Right, so it's the 29th of April 2025, and I had to get up early because I've got to go to the job centre because they've got to sort my benefits out, and I've got to go to these stupid courses or whatever it is to before they can sign up to my benefits, because obviously the government are changing it all. So basically I wake up with an erection, timed waking up with an erection 8 times loud bike as I wake up, and timed masturbating, they need to time a loud bike, timed to the impulses of your penis shooting cum early, they need to time 8 times loud bikes. While jerking cum, 8 times loud bike and a 9 times loud bike, then an 8 times loud bike before 3 more 8 times loud bikes, and then 8 times loud bike coming. While going to the toilet and wiping penis, a matter of about 8 times loud bikes, or just under 10 loud bikes if that's not the right amount in total exactly. Time to sexual excited penis, they need to time an 8 times loud bike. Time to the penis impulses in the tubes of the penis, time to erections and sexually excited penis movements, they need to time 8 times loud bike. And time to erections, another 8 times loud bikes. In the last 45 minutes there's almost been 100 loud bikes being timed to my penis, constructed in a way where it's rigged up to my penis to time to penis shooting impulses and erections. So I'm not very fucking happy. And also there's been a couple of threats outside and also I'm experiencing the burning problem, so I'm not feeling too well yet again, but not as bad as yesterday, so 20% off of that. Right, so I'm near enough outside the job centre because obviously they're changing all the benefits over, but all these setups have been stepped up either by the creator god or the government. So a gun looking vintage green car timed, 2 grey cars, orange, blue, MKM, a lorry, light blue, lots of black and fucking blue, almost get hit by a car, red, white, knife shaped buggy at me, coughed at, MC Bernie lorry, penis ups a bike and motorbike, white grey BF van, heavy traffic stops me crossing, Johnson's van, red white, Gemco van, penis ups a 10 times loud bike, white knife shaped buggy, started car, penis ups at 8 times loud bike, white sexual car angled at me, then another passes me, blue, grey, black, white, blue with light on, willy ups a bike timed. This will offend my father, but it says something is your man van, enjoy sex on a side of a car, red, white, grey car trying to hit me. Due to the track being closed, I had to walk past a load of bullers because I took an alternative route because I'm pissed off with the setups being stepped up. Patterson's vehicle, crutches, knife shaped buggy at me, flu, someone's got flu in my direction, cell calls at me, you are enough t-shirt, 2 grey, white, penis ups a 10 times loud bike, a bike only at the same time, destroy it top, started car, Johnson's van, again the same van that occurred like just now. I can't say what it says because it will offend my father, but it says is your man van, well it says is your man, and it's a van. 6 started cars, just come to fucking pieces t-shirt lookalike, fist to fist top, which is fist, the number 2 and then fist, teenage pushing a buggy at me, Labour Party t-shirt, buggy pushed at me by teen, girl, sick cunt being knifed, everyone knows he's a child rapist said, started catalytic converter setup, no sex t-shirt, that's the one that's quite big quite a big logo on that t-shirt that was in my direction, do you understand van, penis shoots up to 8 times loud bike into my direction, down at me, and then another timed, just do it top, gap top, black and blue, white, dog barks, fuck Lisa. Right, I've been to a job centre and it looks like they've halved my benefits, so I'm not in a very happy fucking mood. They give me the figure, they showed me the figure, I can't tell you what the figure is because it's personal information, but they've halved what I was initially getting before, so I'm not in a very fucking happy mood because, one, if I have any toothache and I've got to pay for dental treatment, I'm not going to be able to afford it. The next thing is I'm going to have to cut down on my drinking. I'm not going to be able to buy much in the way of food or drink or anything to get cheaper brands. And obviously things like cameras, like photographing problems or photography or saving stuff to USB sticks or whatever, I'm going to be struggling with that because I won't have the money anymore. So I'm not very happy. Anyway, there's been a load of setups as well. So just before I got to the job centre, someone shouted their head off saying fucking sick Justin, Breen fault. Or saying, if it's not Breen fault, saying your fault. And that was shouted aggressively. As I turned my head, they timed a loud bike tied to an erection. As I looked behind, K&M van, started car, hard gush of wet sneeze in my face. STS van, hard wet gush of sneeze at me again. Penis shoots up as I walk out the job centre. It's a bike pushed up, passes me. A Battens van, and then it reverses in an area where I'm walking up. Being stabbed, knife dead, said in temper. Willie shoots up's a motorbike timed. Turn head's a motorbike timed. Red and white car timed. Traffic control to stop me crossing the road while they try and increase the setups, but luckily I managed to get past, because obviously if I waited much longer the setups were just increasing it and increasing nastily, so I had to jump the gun there. I nearly got hit, but I'm getting pissed off at these setups, so I'm not in a good mood for it. I'm coughed up with 4 coughs at me. 2 people sneeze over me in the queue at the Nine Springs Cafe, or just in that area. Cell call at me. Crow shag da, D-A-H. Someone's wearing a t-shirt saying sexual relationships. Tied to an erection, 2 bikes at me. And obviously this will offend my father, so I'm not going to say what the van name is, but it says something is your man. And then they time a Cornwall glass van. So I just want to mention something here. They're trying to apply that I should be with Michael Cornwall, which is an old school friend that I knew at Elmwood School 35 years ago roughly. And obviously they timed the Johnson's van. But the thing is, I don't have nothing to do with the people in those days. My life has moved on, but they want to go back with all this crap of what they're mentioning or suggesting, you know, of the past. And these sorts of setups weren't even occurring back in 2006, 2005. Maybe Michael Cornwall was suggested here and there, but by 2007 that was died out. It's like the Wayne business, when they're pissing about with the Wayne business that I mentioned. Anyway, after that you had a car reversing at me. Red car timed. Another car reverses at me. Thatcher's timed. Grey car. And the person that's wearing the Labour Party t-shirt is in my direction, walking back the other way in my direction. And then after that, where is it? I've written it down, but I can't make out what I've written down. Bird tweets burglary, grey car, catalytic converter stench, red car, black and blue, 2 grey, white, grey. Hot point van, sex babe t-shirt worn by quite a negative looking lady aged about 22, rough skin, black hair, dirty appearance. Someone says fucking knife him. Someone says he's being fucking smashed out, fucking weirdo. A crow says shag da, back. Sad just said. Crow says shot dead child molester just. Hen says Amy Weston. And then girl for you t-shirt straight after the Amy Weston section was part was said. Right, blue car my way, loopholes van, grey from behind and white. And then the road becomes busy, so there's 30 more cars on that road. Grey cars, mostly in that time period. Fiend bag car, Somerset Waste Partnership, tractor with a spike my way, tied to an erection bike, sexuality sticker on a car, life down the drain van, 3 round blackish purple balls on a vehicle with upside down cross on each one of them. Right, so obviously the creator god is a corrupt bastard, a sexual slaughter fucking tearaway. He gets out a sheet of ice, smashes it from the side into your fucking heart, or gets out a sheet of glass that's very fucking frozen down into your heart, smashing it through your heart. That's how the sexual slaughter creator god wants to fucking treat me, like a piece of shit. So he wants to get a fucking ice axe, smash me through the fucking ice into the cold depths of the water, and also the fire-staking bastard wants to burn me with raw, intense flames and throw me on the fucking fire grate, bashing my fucking head across the fucking place before flaring up fucking raw, painful power of fire to the fucking coffin of death. That's the way the Creator God treats you, fucking sick little bastard, cruelty cunt. Right, so I got to write this down first before I mention the rest. I'd get with this red section white right at the roundabout, so just get with all this shit a minute. 4 grey, black grey, grey, white. Right, just quickly mention the other side. Penis ups 8 times loud bike, Iceland van, next motorbike to erection. Breezy weather stops me photographing the sheets of these problems that I mentioned. Layla Turner van, followed by Know the Future van. This is a new van, I've not seen this one before. It's like a space van, or a type of company that sells stuff like plasma boards, you know, spacey type things. Green and bust robbery looking lorry, and Wainwright. I had to stop the recording because I was getting confused on what I was doing. I can't remember what the other vehicles were at the roundabout, but you did have an agriculture van. Right, so shortly after that, someone goes like that and does a giggle and says, "Everyone's old and ugly, it's too late." Then you had a grey and a white and a grey car, and then there was 30 more cars, which included sexual and black and blue. So basically most colours that occur except for green, yellow, orange, brown and whatever. So the 30 cars were like black and blue, sick white, that black white, you know, or whatever, a couple of sexual. And this is down the road where there can be 45 minutes without any vehicles at all, but obviously it's organised for when I go down that road. After that, tying to an erection. There wasn't a loud bike, but he did time a penny farthing van, which had a picture of a penny farthing bike on it, tying to an erection. This is one of the only erections I've had this year where it hasn't been tied to a loud bike, but that's what they've done as an alternative. Otherwise, pretty much every erection I've had this year has been tied to a bike. Every impulse, time going to the toilet, you name it, they never miss it. Right, so the Creator God's just going all fucking buckled. The bastard's gone fucking hellbent. Fucking corrupt as fuck. Sexual slaughter, fucking cunt. Right, so we've got a Bradford's timed. That's sorry, my way. Black grey. Over 50 cars that need to reverse at me because it has a catalytic converter on it, Christ. Right, a very clever Christ. You buckled, twisted bastard. Right, grey, drain it over. Red, grey, over drain. Earlier we had your life's down the drain van, so obviously yes, your life is down the drain, we'll make it fucking clear to you. There we are. Do it again, Christ. You nasty, nasty bastard. Right. Black and sexual car, Waterman van. Spastics push my way, but spastics in my age group, by the way, that look negative. Smash his head in, stab him with her. Oh fuck's sake, AIDS. Sad said, Shattuck van, SSE van. Car reverses at me in a crap way. Started car, back goes catalytic converter. Willy ups a bike timed, angled at me. Spit talk hits my hair. Vaping at me. Rexall van, peanuts ups a motorbike. Walking out the shop, back goes gas. Catalytic converter, sorry. Penis up some motorbike also timed. Red sexual white, and over drain white timed. Just do it t-shirt. I can't say the name of this vehicle, and it's happened 4 times now. It says, "Is your man van?" Right, I won't say what the first bit is because I don't want to offend people. Right, red car, grey, orange learner time, 2 grey, stabbing with AIDS said. and I started to lose my fucking patience and losing my temper because I'm getting fucked off with it. So I told this person if he wants to fucking stab me with age, I'm not using fucking coward substance, I'll use direct fucking murder substance. You want to fucking try and commit murder using AIDS through a needle, a syringe. Right, so I'm not in a very fucking happy mood. Right, grey learner car, black and then grey car. Someone gets nasty saying lost your life, blinding you with Tron. That's Tron, whatever that is. Seagull says, haha Justin, is being sexually abused in your next life. Ha 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 ha. I just want to mention something about these stupid fucking voice sounds by animals. Over the last couple of weeks, this has been really bad, saying anything from you're going to the fire of hell, you're not having sex in your next life, you're being sexually abused in your next life, you're going to be killed before you're old enough to have sex, basically saying that you're going to have a crocodile gut, eat the fucking guts out of you, or rip your fucking head off and snap your fucking head off with his teeth, or to tell me that you're going to suffer in agonising pain, excruciating pain, or to tell me to suck the guts in and out of people that sexually abused me as a child, both in this life, and to tell me that I'm just going to be doing that in my next life. Also, saying shot dead, or trying to make suggestions to people to knife me down, or claiming that I'm Seven to other people, and causing arguments there where people are listening to these sounds that the animals are making and getting brainwashed with the fucking bollocks that they're coming out with. Also, you're getting the crow saying, ha, you're having a break and your life's going to get worse, ha ha ha, ha ha ha, there's no one left. And then telling me to fuck people that raped me as a child, as I already said. And you also got animals saying that you're going to burn in the fire of hell, that you're going to have a snake strangulate you and kill you with venom in your next life, or that you're going to be murdered in your next life before you're old enough to have sex. It just goes on and on with this stupid fucking crap. Anyway, I've had a whole load of fucking trouble going to the spa shop and coming back. Sick as fuck, shouldn't be fancying Grace. She's 27, said. I don't know what Grace they're referring to, but that's what they need to tell me and shove down my fucking throat. Seven, being shot dead, said, obviously that's not my name, but that's another threat that occurred. Being shot dead, fucking woman beat a child rapist. And then the same person says, gotta go, won't fuck's sake. Gotta go, won't fancy people over 40, sick cunt. As I stopped the recording, there was some form of horn or something, or beeping to say, you're a fucking dead child molester, sick cunt, in that sort of term. So, yeah, the threats are on the increase, especially yesterday evening. It's all kicking off, we're all across Barrack. And just yesterday, I had the mental health team come and see me, and someone at Barrack has reported me for claiming that I left paper around saying that I'm trying to rape women in a graveyard, in Barrack graveyard. So I told the mental health team that, where's the evidence, where's a piece of paper of me that's so-called writ it, because I haven't writ anything like that. And they can't provide that evidence, and obviously the mental health team said they don't actually believe it because they said that it wasn't reported to the police, which would be the most likely thing that they would have done if that was the case. So they're not accusing me, but it has been reported that someone is accusing me of trying to leave messages about, paper about claiming that I'm trying to rape women, which is not true. So I'm on the road where it should be 45 minutes without a car. So we had a red sexual time. Let me just get rid of this. Right, someone says smash your head in, Justin, child rapist. Sorry, that's no, beeped, sorry. Next car. That's a three-wheel motorbike type thing. Hang on a second, I need to get to the sheet again. Right, smash your head in, Justin, child rapist, beeped by a horn. You're a dead child molester, sick cunt, Justin, beeped again. Fuck all, mate, t-shirt in my direction. This is before I come onto this road. FK, all, and then M, and the number 8. So it says fuck all, mate. Then they timed the just-in-time van with a double bell alarm clock as I come onto this road after the red sexual car. Yes, they're deliberately doing it on purpose, of packing the traffic and stacking it. But after that, So the double bell alarm clock where it says just in time on it is being smashed by a mallet by a cartoon character, and in the middle of that clock it says just in time. Then you had a splatter van, a blood van, a van with broken bone picture on it, rough people walking my way, and then razor wire carried on in a trailer on a vehicle, and then you had basically what I mentioned after that. Right, so I'm not very fucking happy at this minute in time, so I decided to take a crap in the field. So what? Some bloke about 65ish, he walked past saying, "Fucking going. You won't take to women of an appropriate age of their 40s, so you're being shot, sag, cunt." So I thought to myself, well, who's had sex under the age of 40? Nearly everybody worldwide, and in the whole of human history, have had at least one shag in their life before the age of 40, which is a decent amount of sex. So that makes everyone in the world a fucking sick cunt if they don't go with anyone over the age of 40. I mentioned this many times before. Why should I be told to go with someone of the oldest possible age they can force on me when I've not had anyone in my whole life? The only sex I've ever had in my whole life is being sexually abused as a child, and Jesus Christ raping the guts in and out of me, enjoying sex, forcing me to enjoy sex while being sexually abused as a child. That's the only sex I've had in my whole life. And what they're doing now is they're trying to bring up the Wayne business, which died out back in 2007, and it started around mid-2005, and it died out almost as quickly as it came in. And so did other people's suggestions in these setups. But since we came out of the lockdown, they're going back with all the stuff of the past, rubbing it in, causing fucking trouble. The other problem is, people in my age group are very used, they're very stale, mistakes have been made. I mean, mistakes are usually made when they're only about 15 to 20 years of age and they're single mothers. And I'm being told that I'm supposed to go with a stale bitch that's fucked thousands of men, while those thousands of men have enjoyed the sex with those women in their younger years, yet telling me I'm a sick cunt if I don't force my guts out and enjoy sex with people twice the age of the youngest people that sexually abused me as a child at the age they were at the time it happened. And also, they're not only telling me that, but they're telling me I'm a sick cunt if I don't go with people a lot older than the age Jesus Christ was when he was crucified. Just a couple of years ago, a woman on Friendship online told me I shouldn't even be fucking looking at anyone at the age of 35. None of their stuff, all their material, anything. You're sick as fuck, you're supposed to be with people in their 40s up. So I chucked the Bible out, ripped it up, and I've lost faith in God, because obviously if I'm being treated like a piece of shit, and God was only 33 when he was crucified, and he's been in a sexual relationship with Mary Magdalene in his living life when she was a teenager or younger, you know, makes you fucking wonder, doesn't it? Why am I being told that I should be going with the ugliest piece of shit, pushing the age up to force me to go with Hellbent Attraction, or to force me to go with faces that look like zombies coming out of their graves in the fire of hell, or being told to go with a granny or disgusting, unhygienic looking type of face? You don't tell people that when they've been sexually abused and not had sex, and stopped them getting sex all their lives. And that's what they've done with me. Stopped me getting sex all my life, and stopped me getting anyone. Telling me I've got to go with gross attraction. I can't even get a mentally disabled person or a mentally handicapped person who's a possible spastic type person of a sexual type. They won't even let me have that. They won't let me have fuck all. I've been on dating sites, I spent thousands upon thousands, and I've ended up with just remarks, people getting nasty with me, telling me that I'm too hot, or telling me that I'm too fit, I'm too sexy, or telling me that you're supposed to be with the negative type and saying you're a worthless piece of shit. That's the way God's people fucking treats you. And when it goes to these Christian places, they're all in relationships, and they just pass the buck telling you to worship Christ, and Christ does fuck all apart from causing negative animal voice sounds telling me to fuck people that raped me as a child, or making laughs when a loud bite occurs tied to erection, while initially going to church for a 3-year period for my life to worsen, and having animals telling people to attack me and to knife me dead, and to tell people that I'm Savem when that's not my name, to attack me when going or returning and going to church on Sunday. I've stopped all this a couple of years ago, but it just goes to prove how fucking spiteful the Creator God is. And also you've got to take into account that when I initially went to these church places, I was being reported for things I haven't done, and obviously I've been informed to the police for doing a filming of some old-fashioned stairs going from one end to go to the open door of some very old stairs, and because a lady came out of the toilet with a girl aged about 10, I got reported to the commissioner of the church for that, and there was more trouble there. So yeah, God's fucking fallen. You got to take into account as well, a previous psychic gave me a past life reading going back about 15 years or so ago, and my previous life was very negative as well. So she was saying I have quite a bad childhood. I was being sexually abused repeatedly as a child when I was a little girl in my previous life, and said that when I was the age of 20, early 20s, like 22, I don't know what the age is, she said I died tragically, and I was working in a laboratory, and I was too unlucky to actually find anyone. And she said that I was a good looker, so I would have been the type that men would have fancied in my previous life before I had my life taken in a way which she didn't tell me about. She just said it was a tragic death. So this life's the same, and then obviously Jesus Christ is going to rape the guts in and out of me as a baby in my next life and stop me getting sex in my next life as well. So that's blue murder in 3 fucking lives. That just says it all, doesn't it? Like the works of God's creation. Why do we step on insects? Why do underwater creatures shit and piss in the same water they eat and drink out of? Why do crocodiles bite the heads off of other animals, cause excruciating pain? Why do snakes paralyse other animals with venom for excruciating pain and death and strangulating them? Just makes you wonder who God really fucking is, doesn't it? I see. I had 2 grey cars eventually come up from behind and a red car after I stopped the recording. Then you had a red knife-shaped car timed, and then you had that black gun-looking vehicle, which is identical-looking vehicle to the one Patrick McGoohan drives in the Prisoner series that was held in the 1960s. So his car was like a black and yellow car, but it's exactly the same type of car, for some form of racing car. It's on the beginning of every episode, or near enough every episode of the Prisoner series. So it's The Prisoner with Patrick McGoohan, and when they filmed it at a place called Portmeirion in Wales, and that specific looking car has been timed, except it's in full black for colour as I reached the road, that road. After that, you had a red car, Schick Baxter van, which is SHK. You had a dumper truck, which is carrying a load of shit in the bucket. Straight after that, a Life Learner car, Girlfriend car, which is a sexual car, by the way, with bunny rabbits on it, like sexual suggestions. I didn't take much notice of who was driving it, but the likelihood is it's Girl Racers or something like that. Then you had a No Chance van, and then a Sad van, but it's spelt in a certain way. I think it's SAHD. I didn't get the spelling. It's definitely 4 letters long. It's an Indian spelling, I think. I'm not sure. Then you had a black and blue car, 3 white cars in a row, then 3 sick colour cars, and then 3 blue cars in that order, straight after each other. Right, so you've had that lorry that resembles the same lorry as the flatbed lorry that says smash you to pieces on the side of it, which is a rubble flatbed lorry. Right, a Lisa Pike lookalike. She looks quite literally identical to the picture that I've used from her Facebook, where she's aged somewhere between 28 and 32, possibly 33, but I'm not sure. Anyway, I use that picture on my Facebook to tell people over the years that I don't take to that type when it comes to Lisa Pike, and that I can't take to people who look like that because they're not very attractive looking when it comes to sexual appearance and attraction, rather than those who prefer to have a relationship for other reasons. Well, this lady that passed me was roughly about the same age as how Lisa would have been back then, and she told me as she walked past that I'm a sad cunt. Just because I looked at her, because I was sort of wondering, I thought this looks like Lisa. This person's also dressed in red, completely dressed in red. Right, someone starts on me, workers, bearded type people, saying shot dead fucking paedophile, and then said Savan, which is not my name. And then someone says everyone's 40, fucking veg head. Lost your life, child abuser, Savan. Right, so I just had 2 people come up to me saying that I'm a fucking paedophile, and then they start going on saying, yeah, well, he's not just a regular paedophile, is he? It's Savan, and saying that I'm a fucking dangerous bastard that's going to have the shit kicked out of me, and starting a fucking row as they pass me. So I've just had to put up with that, and now I'm heading on towards the new area, which goes on to the West Coker Road. Yesterday I came down here and I was mentioning they've dug out a new pathway that goes to West Coker. Obviously I'm not going to West Coker, but I'm going to the end of the road where I initially went before they closed the old path off to do construction work. And they told me that, but they told everyone that it's closed off permanently and you have to take an alternative direction. As far as threats go, come in here, not the Yeovil side, but from the Barrack side onwards. For this time of day, I've had record-breaking threats. Walking from Barrack to where I am now, after going into Yeovil town earlier to go to the job centre to sort out that issue where they've cut my benefits by half. So anyway, I'll keep you updated on what happens down here. Right, so I made it to the end of the road and I decided to turn back because it seems to be very busy. I haven't been down that area since before they closed that path off. I've only ever been down there a couple of times, twice I think, ever, to go to the furthest point. Anyway, when I reached the road, because obviously I'm taking a new route because they closed the other one off because of construction work, which has been permanently closed off, and I got to go there because I need to take a picture of the no entry sign with all the love hearts and stars and sexual suggestions and sex written on it, you know, stickers that someone's put on there on the no entry. But anyway, let's get out of this area first. Right, so as I reached the bottom of the road, it just seemed to be a random flow of traffic, so there's about 30 cars. Not too suggestive, grey, white maybe, or red. I don't think there was any black and blue on this occasion, or knife shaped or gun shaped. There was a couple of sexual cars, but it wasn't too suggestive. But very busy, because the last time I went down it was not as busy as this. You had half the amount of traffic, if that. Anyway, I saw the future van, which occurred again, because I saw it earlier. I was trying to read the information on it, but I'm not 100% sure if I read it right, but I think it's from the Isle of Wight. So there's a van that's not from this area. So that's quite unusual. Straight after that you had the Becks van, which is BECKS, and then the Pete van, which is Pete's, PETES. And then straight after that you had a wedding car. Just before I turned around, straight after that, you had a load more cars passing. You had an air shattering loud bike tying to an erection, so it's 10 times loud, and it was also tying to an itchy bumhole. And at that stage I turned around and walked back, and the last 4 minutes has been okay. Right, so I've walked to the oh fuck's sake, to the end point of where they closed the path off and put the fence there so that no one can get past. That's alright. But what's happened is they've taken that fence away now, and it just says private property. So it's opened and it's slightly wider than what it was before, and they've done a lot of work in there. And it's been quite quick actually, to be fair. Just a month or something like that. Anyway, when they were constructing that path yesterday that I was on about, I'm surprised it's open today. But anyway, I'm heading back in the other direction. Right, so it might sound like there was a bit of a blank space there. There wasn't. I was audio recording a person who gave me threats when I was walking in the other direction before I walked back, claiming I was a child rapist for mistaking me as Sven. So I tried to audio record him making another threat, but I don't think he made any threats on this occasion when I was walking back. But if you were to turn it up and listen, you can only just make it out, because obviously there's a lot of hissy noise and there's a lot of breezy weather, so you can't hear it that clearly. But that's the person who had a go at me, giving me that threat. Walking that road, which is about 5 minutes long roughly, I had to put up with setups today. Yesterday it was just a clear way right through, and I had no problems at all, apart from several threats from the country houses. That's occurred again today, but I want to give you the setups and give you the full details of what's just occurred. So first of all, some lady is trying to sneeze in my face. Then there's a black sexual car timed and a blue sexual car timed. Then there's a black car coming my way with a blue car coming from behind. A car reverses out at me from a driveway. There's a bit of an argument occurring in the house. I think it's the same house as where I had the threat yesterday, but I'm not sure. Someone shouts sick, but in like a hissy sort of way, but saying it at the same time as it sounds hissy. Then there's a bike only timed to an erection. Then someone passes me in a car. They got their window down, and as they pass me, they're timed to sneeze. Then there's a Tesco van turning around to go into my direction, but initially reversing up me. As I get onto the main track, which is this track I'm on now, there's two old people passing me, and they start having a fucking debate, starting to nailing me as a sick bastard and a dangerous rapist and paedophile and woman beater, just using that sort of term and phrase or whatever, claiming this and claiming that without even knowing me. And then obviously after that, finally there's another person that's coughing in my direction, and then I make it to where I am now. Right, so I made it on the road where you can have overhanging trailer to rip my legs off. That's right, there's a red car. Just write that down a minute. Hang on a second, they're fucking annoying me today. With overhanging trailer, as you can hear. Right, not quite time to rip my legs off, but very close. Yeah, so there's a lady down the path. She's fucking hell. This is that road where there's it should be 45 minutes no traffic, as I nickname it, because that's usually the case. The traffic's only occurring when it's being rigged up and controlled around me, because I want to cause it to be as busy as they can fucking possibly stack it around me, to cause as much misery, to cause as much hysteria, to cause as much mess and cause as much trouble as they can fucking stack and build up around me. And they've been doing this since November in particular of last year. But anyway, if I can get a say, because I'm being choked out by a catalytic converter which smells like raw vinegar mixed with the smell of rubbing two stainless steel knives against garden cress, except about 100 times stronger. Right, so a 29-year-old woman with this modern teenage girl accent, with that strict accent, starts a fucking row with me. But there's a bit of good news with this. So she says this: yes, you're sad as fuck. Hang on, where is it? Where does it? Hang on. No, she said, sorry, hang on, let me get to the start. Sad, yes, fucking sad. Preying on 29-year-old woman, yes, you're sad as fuck, mate. Well, I don't know if she said mate, but she definitely said sad as fuck. As this occurred, a rough man, aged about my age, says to this lady, yes, you're a fucking dog, wussy. And then that chap laughs, and then he has a quick chat with me. But the first thing he says is, what is wrong with her? What is wrong with people today? You know, and this is a druggy type person, so it's rough, but not the rough type of people that have that accent where they talk like this. Oh, I'll fucking kill him, I'll fucking do it, it's a fucking knife tiger, he's a fucking prick, I'll fucking bash his head in, I'll fucking do it, yes, I'll fucking do it. It wasn't that accent, it's like the sort of druggy accent, it's sort of, I tell you what, mate, you know, sort of like that. We're not quite like that, but it's definitely a druggy type person, and I'm quite surprised that he has a bit of brains, because a lot of people that are like this are just usually you know, the people that bloody wins could stop me get to say on this. Sorry about that. Yeah, so obviously most of these druggy type people seem to be more intelligent than these people that are starting on me like that woman. So anyway, I had a quick chat with him. He's just is everything's alright, you know, things alright, you know, it's sort of that sort of saying. So, you know, there was no problems there. But when I did get to the road, you had a person on a skateboard timed, a black and white car afterwards, then a red car, and then basically all the setups that's occurred since I've had the digital audio recorder on record, which I've been telling you about. Right, so I'm taking a new route. So I'm in the field where I saw that grey haired chap I'm not sure what age he is, but he's obviously got to be older than me because he had full grey hair. And he was kissing and cuddling this smooth skinned lady that's in her early 20s, mid 20s maybe, that looks like the new age gothic type of lady with long black hair. So that goes back a little while now, so several weeks ago. But you know, if it's alright for people to have different age groups, why are people moaning about me all the time? Unless it's just specific people and I'm going into the wrong people all the time. Because me seeing people in different age groups of sexual relationships or whatever I've been witnessing in recent times, it appears that it seems to be normal, you know, different age gaps. But I need someone to tell me what the issue is, why people are moaning, or what's causing people to... Because I don't understand this, because when it comes to me, you look at all the years I've been on dating sites, they moan if there's just 2 or 3 years difference in age. Yet I'm seeing people with different age groups of up to 20, 25 years, and it's seen as normal. So if someone could tell me or explain why this is happening, it'd be interesting to know what your views are on this, because it seems that I'm seeing all this happening, yet when it comes to me, I'm the one that's being known as sick, unless I go with a negative type or being forced to go with people over the age of 40 or whatever. It's fucking never ending, innit, these fucking problems? Right, so I've passed a lady aged about 25, and she's with a blonde lady who's a bit taller, aged 18. As they walked past me, she said this: 18, school child, you fucking sicko. Said it like that. And then after that I walk into 3 rough people, and then one of those rough people goes across the other side from walking with his mates, and he crouches down and starts laughing. So I don't know what he's trying to suggest there. And then the other 2 laugh. Anyway, I managed to get past them without any problems. No threats, amazingly. And then there was 4 loud bikes being tied to fucking itchy bumhole and fucking erections. Right, so the last 20 minutes hasn't been too bad. However, there has been about 40 people in my direction. I don't know whether that's being caused or whether it's coincidence, but that seems a rather lot of people passed me in a designated area. Luckily there was no sneezing in my face, no threats or anything like that. However, there has been about 20 more loud bikes tied to an itchy bumhole, tied to erections and all that sort of thing, which has pissed me off. Going back to that man that was crouching down directly after I passed that 18-year-old giving me a threat, he looks very similar to DJ Baby Kane, or producer Baby Kane, which is a jungle producer, and it's spelled like this: B-A-Y space B space and K-A-N-E. Now, he did a load of jungle tracks back in the 1990s. Now obviously this chap is not Baby Kane, because obviously this person is younger. He's only aged about 45. Baby Kane will be a bit older now, because obviously he was producing all this stuff back in the 90s. Yeah, I'm wondering whether he saw me go for a crap at any time because of the way he crouched down, but the likelihood is he didn't, because obviously it's not very often I do what I did today, because I was in a bad mood and there was no one about when I went for a crap earlier on, so fuck knows why he was doing that. Right, so I'm on that dead end area which goes to the road where you can have 45 minutes without a car, and every time you get 2 cars again, and there's been no fucking miracle. There we are. Yeah, and that's going down the dead end. That's black and white. So yeah, that's don't want to fucking, yeah, doing it on purpose. It's got to be done on purpose. When I was doing that walk, I don't recall there being any traffic on this road, because you can hear the traffic even on the walk I did. So that's very sneaky, and you can look up to the road as well in certain areas, not when you're in the field. So I don't know what happened when I was in the field area, but in the part where I can see from the bottom part of there was no traffic at all, so it's being slyly timed. So why do they need to do it? Why does it need to be fucking havoc? Why do they need to cause shit? Why do they need to shit stir? Why does trouble need to be fucking caused? Fucking explain that, creator God, you fucking nasty bastard. You fucking sexual slaughter fucking tearaway that's ripping me to fucking pieces and crucifying me sexually in every life. You nasty bastard. Right, I've decided to do a second walk to the spa shop because it's only 3 o'clock in the hour. Oh, for fuck's sake. Hold on a second. Right, just to mention what's happening now. So it's a black sexual car, scooter my way, black and blue timed. Hold on a second. Right, just before that you had penis up loud bike, another 11 times, drain cover over red sexual over drain, beastie white sexual car with one light out of my way over train cover, penis up 10 times loud motorbike timed, white grey started car, more motorbikes, keks, a bag, someone carrying a keks bag, and dad, lorry. And black white. Right, so you've had a black and blue car. You had 8 started catalytic converters, 3 that were reversing out of a driveway and 1 reversing in. There was another load of cars going over a drain car, including learner cars. I walked past a sexy lady. Although she's fat build, she has like a peachy type of light pink skin appearance, but it's smooth skin. She's aged 36 and she told me this. She went, 36 you spastic, and then went duh, as if she's throwing up. And then after that there's a teenage couple, but they look just a little bit older than that, so maybe the age of 20 at a push. So this is a young couple, and they say everyone's married at the age of 23. You fucking knobhead. Then there's a gun looking vehicle, and then obviously they want to stir shit with this specific van name. They've timed it 5 times now. It's the van where it says, "Is your man." I'm not going to say what it says because it can offend certain people. After that you've got a dark green, nearer to black looking Mini car, which is kind of sexual but more gun looking. Then there's a black car. Then there's a lady about 30ish that says you need to lower your standards and you'll find someone. Well, I'm not going to find someone while everybody's complaining about my age and moaning about everything else. So you know, you've got that problem. And then you had this massive acorn, as you can hear, fall out the tree, almost trying to smash me on the head. If that was a green acorn and it smashed me on the head, that could have killed me. And then obviously a crow went, ha, 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 ha. Right, so just let a black and blue van pass, because obviously they need to cause that to occur. And then there's white at the top, and there's Invicta lorry, Invicta. I'm on the road where there can be 45 minutes without a vehicle. Well, down that track, I can only hear so far down that track if there's any vehicles on this road. Fuck's sake, and all that's being brought up, all the dust. It's all being timed, it's all being done on purpose, it's fucking deliberate. Hang on a second, I'm at the roundabout now, so I need to state all that fucking shit. There's already been about 50 setups on that fucking roundabout. Fucking pattern is in my eye now. This is what I mean. They need to control everyone's movement to stack this shit as heavy as they can around me, because the government are fucking corrupt. Or the creator God wants to stir as much fucking trouble as the bastard can fucking ice axe me with, or fire stake me with. There's nothing you can do about it. The creator's fucking absolutely possessed with fucking evil. For fucking force control, local, national, global. I can get a picture of that. That's right, put that fucking thing there so I can't get a picture. Right. Hang on a second. National, global. It's fixed. The creator God is corrupt. Obviously the creator God is absolutely corrupt. It's got to happen like this. So there's nothing you can do about it. The bastard's fucking possessed. Right, pipe fix. Willy up bike. So if I can get so you've had a couple of sexual cars. There's about 50 cars before this. I just went in to let those vehicles pass. Why mention these problems. I'll mention the rest of the way and those 50 setups when I'm in the graveyard in a settled place where I can easily speak about it. Right, sick cunt being shot dead, child rapist, as I said. Hang on, there's a lot to mention, so I just want to get the basics down a minute. Sick cunt, shot dead, child rapist.
Got to write it down because I'm struggling to do it, you see. They stepped the action up since I've gone to the job centre today. They did this last time I went to the job centre, stepped the action up. Right, it's a black and blue car. Layla Turner van. No Chance van. No How van. Advance Air van. Fucking hell. RT Keedwell van. Lorry. Black and blue car. Red, orange, black sick. 2 grey, white. I've forgotten what the other vehicle is. Time to go van. Time number 2 and go. This is at the roundabout. I've got to state the rest of this in a minute. What else? When I got onto this road, you had a black and blue car, a black sexual car, gun looking vehicle, dark brown, beastie, monster looking car, a started car, and where that started car was, that person says sick cunt, shot dead child rapist. Get onto the next bit. There's another 3 cars on here choking me out with a catalytic converter. So 2 red cars and a white car, and then there's a grey sexual looking car that's in my direction, and then obviously I start the recording that I'm doing now. Right, so just before those black and blue van passed on the road where there can be 45 minutes with no traffic, and obviously once again is always being rigged up only when I'm on that road, so quite literally that road has been near enough completely quiet with no vehicles at all in the time period I haven't been on that road or near that road walking the fields or the track or whatever. So it's being done in a way where it's controlled and deliberate. But before that, every single car on the roundabout, before I mention the rest of the setups, was in a black and blue, knife shaped, gun shaped and sexual pattern. When I got past the section of where I stopped the recording, the previous recording that I've done, I managed to get towards the rugby club area on the other side. Now they got an event in the field opposite the rugby club at the top of Barrack, just before you go into Barrack, in a big field, and there was a person in a van that was getting in a van after locking the gate up, and he said, "Sick cunt, everyone's ugly now, you child rapist." After that I get a couple of more threats from people in vehicles passing me saying fucking sick, being beat up, sick cunt, and then another person, which include mostly females of a teenage age group, maybe early 20s, and saying sick cunt, beating him up, and that was said by one of the males in that car. So then there was another 5 vehicles roughly, I mean between July 2024 and just over 6 weeks ago, when I was walking that road, there was no more than 10 cars in whatever direction it is I walked, but in recent times it's reached 20, 30 and possibly 40. Anyway, I don't want to have to put it like this, but they're causing a lot of trouble with this specific van. It says something and then it says, "Is your man?" Well, it's causing offence for specific people, and a family member got very upset about it when I mentioned it on Facebook going back 2 years ago. So that van name became very less frequent and it hardly occurred at all. But since April of 2024 it started to become a more frequent thing that was occurring on a regular basis, and since 2025 has occurred, all the actions seem to be stepped up even more. But to time it 6 times in one day is causing shit. But you know, if they can get away with it, they're going to do it, so that's why they're doing it. Since I've been in Barrack Cemetery, I have had a load of threats, but obviously I'll read out those threats when the page is full. But just one more setup that occurred before I made it to the back to Barrack graveyard, and that was to angle a car to smash right into me on the corner. Right, so I've been in the graveyard about half an hour, and it's been just trouble upon fucking trouble. So Sven Dead said, obviously that's not my name, but I'm mistaken as that person. Crow goes ha 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 above me. A young lady with 2 older people starts on me saying, "Yes mate, fancy a 36-year-old whip, do you? Fucking sicko." And then after that she says, "Oh, I'll come back later when that sick piece of shit has gone." So she says that, and then obviously there's threats from the back of where they occurred yesterday and over the Easter period and on various days in recent times. So that personal area where it's coming from
These people are saying, fucking knifing him, that Justin. Penis up to loud bike 4 times. Crow says, fuck that, just, D-A-H. Shot dead child rapist said, he certainly to them being shot dead said, penis up to loud bike. Dog barks older women, Justin, repeatedly. Sheep says, dead spastic. Right, sir, I'll give you the last 40 minutes, shall I? The time's going very fucking slow today because it's only 5 o'clock, so this could end up being a long documentary. Right, penis shoots up, loud bike. 43, you fancy children, mental case, supposed to be over 40, barked. You molested the name of someone who sexually abused me as a child, said by dog bark. Another dog barks, shot dead. Dog barks being knifed. Someone says, so this is a person now. Someone says face of a pizza. More trouble, stuff gone said. Mike said. Crow says child molester. Yeah, repeatedly. Unusual creature sound. Saying child abuser just. Repeatedly. Bloody sick, he molested Sadie said. Breaking in fucking loony. Cabbage brain said. Mental case. Justin, bash your bloody brains in said. That's by a woman that said that, by the way. Seagull says Justin shot dead child molester. Dog barks wet herself. Dog barks so sad Justin. He's being knifed already, breaking in his flat said. Dog barks petrol and something else, can't make out what said. And then says just. Dog barks masturbate Justin. No one left, or no one repeatedly. Rape Sadie Dando, child rapist. Dog barks busting in, child abuser busting in. Penis up to loud bike. The lady that started on me in the graveyard earlier has returned wearing a t-shirt saying out of the age range or something like that. So I avoid the situation and I go into an area where there's no problems and she doesn't see me, and then eventually after about 10 minutes she leaves. Crow says child molester just. Dog barks fucked up just. Sorry, and then ha afterwards. Lady says stupid idiot, not supposed to be with anyone under 39. You're 44. I can only guess that she knows what my age is from doing previous documentaries in this graveyard while documenting my problems over the last 6 weeks or whatever on this digital audio recording device and being heard. Dog barks smash him in. Bird tweets breaking in fucked Amy Weston. Breaking in, no one left said. Incidentally, I've never had sex with Amy Weston, and Amy Weston looks similar to the celebrity from, is it Texas or Pennsylvania? I'm not sure where she's from, but there's what's her name? A singer called Gabby Borges in America, so she's in her early 20s or something like that. Amy Weston looked a bit like her, but where Gabby Borges has like a smooth skin appearance, Amy Weston had a rather unusual type of skin. It's more like an oily, wet looking, soft skin. As it stands, Amy Weston is just a few years younger than me, as it stands today, and she's gone into negative attraction in a matter of just a few years. Just a few years ago she would have had the same skin as what I've just mentioned, but obviously some people just rapidly age and go wrinkly all of a sudden in just a matter of 3 years, and unfortunately she's one of those types that has. But it doesn't matter because basically I don't know her. She's no good to me. She's a single mother. She has a different way of life. She has never liked me apart from when she knew me for a short period of time back in 1992, 1993 area. Otherwise that is it. Anyway, next track. Right, so where are we to? Breaking in, no one left said. Walk to the road area, black and blue, white, sick, grey, white, grey, grey and grey and grey. I just want to mention something else. Yesterday there was also a Shara Western lookalike. The Shara has a more sinister or more serious facial appearance, but she's also got the same type of same skin type as Amy Weston had. So it'd be like I just said, it's like an oily sort of wet, soft sort of attraction skin, which is slightly different to your average lady, because most ladies have like a smooth skin appearance, similar to like Britney Spears, but the oily sort of soft skin, or how do you word it, the silky type of skin, you don't really often see women having that type of skin. But you know, to be fair, I prefer a dry looking skin in general, so that wouldn't make any difference anyway. But they're just tying two bikes on the road, tying to an erection. Talking of a dry skin, well, I wouldn't say dry skin as such, but a smooth skin appearance seems to be a sort of different appearance. There are some people that have like a wet looking skin. It's not usually the Amy Weston type either. I mean, Gabby Borges in America, who's an actress, a singer or whatever, she doesn't quite have that silky, wet, soft type of skin, but is the closest celebrity you're going to get in America that kind of resembles Amy Weston. Amy Weston didn't look identical to Gabby Borges, as she would have been more of a sort of Gabby's got that sort of, at the age she is now, has developed like a drier skin appearance. So it's like but it's not dry as such, it's more sort of maybe a negative sort of appearance in the face, where Amy Weston had a sort of different appearance in the face, where it didn't go into that dry and sarcastic type of social look, maybe. I'm not sure what word to use really, to be fair. Anyway, let's go off the subject, because it's not very good, is it? But anyway, back to what I was saying. When it comes to me, I'm not even being told. I'm told that I'm not allowed to go with not even a dry appearance skin that's got some form of smoothness to the flesh. I'm literally told that I got to go with a pizza face, or what they nickname shingles attraction, or the type of body that has rashes all over it. It looks like the skin's coming off or peeling off, or that raw looking skin face. That's rough attraction, or can give the impression of what looks like sick off the floor, or dry sick off the floor. There are some people that have like a dry stone type of looking appearance. Now that's just out of the ability to be able to fancy. So that dry stone appearance, if that's the right word to use, is just out the borderline of not being able to fancy. So I can't take to that, but there are people that I can like or look at as if they look like they're clean people, that have that dry stone appearance in the face. But all the people I'm being told to go with, because I'm 44 years of age, you've got to look at the type of appearance that looks disgusting, has that unhygienic look, or has that goofy look, or has that look where they're very, where you don't want to sit at a dinner table with them. But we're in a different time, and that's the way people treat you. And it doesn't matter if you've been sexually molested and never had sex properly in your whole life, you're being told the same thing regardless of what age you are. Well, not what age you are, but regardless of what's happened in life, or how you've succeeded in life. Regardless whether you've had anyone, not had anyone, whether you are a single man, or whether you're a married man, whether you have children, whether you don't have children, you have to follow what everyone says, and you're treated like everyone else regardless of the situation. Anyway, there has been a few more threats, which is on the start of another sheet. Gonna knife him, child rapist not supposed to have sex with a prostitute, and then dead said after that. And then obviously I mentioned the two bike issues that were on the road tying to an erection. So there's been a few threats to inject me with a HIV needle, to say that's the only way we can get Christ coming out of you because you're the devil's son, and saying that it's not sexuality that will get Jesus Christ to return, we need to inject you with HIV. We had these threats earlier on, and I got a bit nasty and I said, well, if you want to commit murder using a needle, why don't you just use fucking bleach or weed killer instead of coward substance? Because obviously they're scared of getting caught or going to jail, so that's why they won't use proper substance to commit murder. Anyway, red timed. Lost your life being knifed, Justin. Bye bye, said. Itchy bumholes to loud bikes. Bow whistles. Crow says molested her, just. Fucking shoot him, said. Gonna fucking get him, stab him with HIV, said. Crow says no one left, just. Molested F. Yeah, definitely molested her, said. Bow whistles. Getting knifed Friday night, Liam, said. Like the Savan threat, I'm mistaken as Liam as well. 90% of threats are Savan and 10% are Liam. And in recent times I've been getting threats under my proper name, Justin. But most of the threats I get are under those two names. But 90% of all threats, or nearly all threats, I'm mistaken as Savan. However, threats with my name Justin, which is my proper name, are becoming to overtake the Liam threat in the last 2 years, but not before that time. So, hang on, let's see where we are now. That's a very dangerous person, molested Ian, said. Bird says break in, having nothing. Lying, Justin's WHIV. Needle, said. I'll fucking stab him, having a fucking break in, said. You have, the road that goes from the roundabout, from the, one side of the oval, near Paviot's Mill, that goes towards Barrack and Stowford. Well, as you go into Barrack and Stowford, you pass the rugby club, and then as you go down the hill, down a tight bendy road, you've got a turn-in, and it's the first turn-in on the right, which is like a gravel track that goes to two buildings, possibly bungalows. I've never been up there to look. Whereas at the back of there, or where the bungalows are, is where all these threats are coming from. So there's obviously a nasty piece of shit that's living around there. So we've had a Crow say shot dead initially, Peanuts up on loud bike, and then a teenage girl, possibly younger, I'm not sure, says weird fucker Justin. Then Savan, yep, dead, said by a bloke from that same place. Then Byrne said, and then the chap shoots a gun, firing blanks in that building. So I'm not very happy about that, because I'm being mistaken as that person, and obviously there are many people like that, many pieces of shit that don't verify the facts first before they take their action, and this is why all the trouble's occurring all the time. But there seems to be a lot of threats coming from there on a regular basis, especially in the Easter time period. I was at Barrack and there was a lot of people also coming down on that road where shit was fucking turning out to be nasty, and people in cars as well getting nasty, all because they're mistaking me as those two people of Liam and Savan. But in the last 2 years, even threats under my proper name, Justin, is starting to turn out fucking nasty. So I don't know why that is, but it is. And it's interesting that he said burn as that bloke said burn, because I am actually getting like a burning sensation, but it's nowhere near as like it is at my place. So maybe it's due to the hot weather, but it's interesting that he's mentioned burn. I wonder if he's got a device that's like it. Just a suspicion. I mean, I don't know, but I notice I am burning just very, very faintly, hardly at all, but noticeable. But it could just be a normal situation of being out in heat all day. It's interesting that I left, even though it's very mild and likely just to be a natural cause on this occasion. It is interesting that the burning sensation that was very mild decided to stop when I went from one part of the graveyard to the other. But now it's time to mention the problems, okay? Deb Meat said, breaking in tomorrow. He should have been with Lisa, said. Penis up's a loud bike. And then there was a couple in their teens, possibly early 20s at a maximum. The very earliest part of their 20s, if they were in their 20s, saying he's having a burglary, schizophrenic, fucking knife attack, he's going. So obviously you've got some very dry and sarcastic snobby accent at the moment that's very high up, and a lot of the people that give me threats have sort of speaking this very posh, well off sort of accent, which is like this. I'll fucking tell you, I'll fucking kill him. I'll fucking bash his fucking head around like a fucking rugby ball. I'm gonna fucking knife the cunt. Cunt's a rapist. Fucking woman beater. I'll fucking kill him. Shoot the bastard dead. He's fucking going. He's fucking gone. I'm gonna fucking kill him. Fucking tell you this. I'll fucking bash his head around. I'll kick his fucking head like a rugby ball. I'll fucking set the bastard alight. I'll tie him to a fucking back of a tow bar on a fucking car. I'll fucking drive off. Fucking ram him across the fucking road. Throw him in a fucking slurry pit. Fucking kill the cunt. Fucking knife the cunt. So that's your average upper class modern accent from the rough community that are high up with high standards. Many people know about this, but it's also known as take it as my own accent or something like that. It's a sort of accent where you think you're better than everybody else, but it's the gangstery accent that was set out where people started to change from Victorian time into this sort of posher accent, which developed into like the accent I just posed as to explain the type of aggression and stuck up hard spoken words and ways that people have changed over the years. So it all comes from like the rich, well-off community and comes from the actual dry and sarcastic upper class community. There was a documentary on YouTube that was explaining this going back in 2012, which was connected to the Illuminati conspiracies, but it wasn't actually part of the Illuminati. It's just something that someone added in to make the documentary 4 hours long. So it's built up by someone. So it's a proper piece of information, you know, it's real, but it comes from like a television program which has been merged in to the other stuff that's in these conspiracy videos that was shown in 2012. And that's how I heard about it. And this is an official piece of information, but I don't have a clue what it's called. And obviously that specific video is no longer on YouTube and hasn't been on there since I watched it in 2012. And even if it was, I wouldn't have remembered the title properly to re-get that information. But yeah, it started in Victorian times, where people started to have this rough accent, and also through being better than everybody else accent, and then through the years it developed into this harsh spoken accent we have today. Not everyone's like it, but there's a lot of people that are like it, and it's sort of, you know, you had it through the rough community or the yobbish community going back years in the 90s and the 80s and possibly the 70s. I mean, you've always had that sort of accent, but it's mostly been between people that are high up in high places. Hitler, for example, or you know, he had that bit of accent to it, or people in those sorts of areas. But going back further back in time, you didn't have it. It's quite a modern accent that people have developed in recent years. Right, I want to quickly mention why the thug life community, or the roughneck community, or those that were thugs, never liked the old school jungle scene back in the 1990s. And I'll tell you how it works out. So going back before the electronica and the rave scene, you had the few that liked the reggae scene, but it was more based on the rock, heavy metal and progressive rock scene before the electronica changeover of the mid-80s, when you had all these Euro tracks come in of house, trance and techno. And then obviously you had that beat, and people liked the acid house scene, and also the you know, whatever you want to call it, the house subgenres. Most people stuck to that. And then obviously you also like the commercial mainstream chart tracks of these types of tracks that were in the charts back at that time. So that's what the thug life would have initially listened to before we came into the 90s. Some of the thug life community also went into the hip hop scene when we come to the later part of the 80s, and held out to it to this day, I guess, some of them. But you also had the rave scene, which also came in. So it started off with basically, I think it was the rave scene of 1992. So you had like Prodigy, Out of Space, the Shaman, the Shaman, Ebenezer Goon, tracks like that, like a Rave 92, Rave and all the rest of it. So everybody got into a rave scene. So when it got into the rave scene, the thug life community were listening to that, and there were some tracks that are very close
to old school jungle, but not on the commercial CDs as such. But you did have some form of jungle, or some form of early jungle mixed in or on those compilations back in that time period. And obviously you had the rave tapes, the illegal rave tapes back at that time, like DJ Tango and Fallout, DJ Ratty, who were mixing the more darker tracks of the rave scene back at that time. As soon as we came into 1993, the rave scene started to change, and jungle music started to develop, and they started making the sound more mature, more deeper, more lower sounding, more soulful, putting rare groove in it, putting cult samples in it, putting mystical effects in certain tracks, and making it sound very low, and trying to push the power of the music into like a dreamy sounding suggestion. And then all the thug life community didn't like that sort of sound, so when it came to that sort of music, they sort of continued to listen to the remaining music they were initially into. And those who were into the rave scene of 1992 decided to go into the dance scene of the commercial dance tracks of the 1993 period and 1994, with those who were into the reggae scene. When we got into the later part of 1993 or 1994, the jungle tracks were being made a lot more frequently, and they're becoming more deeper, more mellower, and also you had that dark edge on these heavyweight tracks that were very underground. In the mainstream, it's more ragamuffin style sounds, but not many people were into jungle, especially when it came to the thug life community or those types of people, because it's not their sort of thing. They were insulting his black people's music because they didn't like it. That's what they were doing in the 90s. But as far as these thugs were going, and the music that they were listening to during the time period, you had the jungle scene. As I just mentioned, it was a mixture of reggae, dance, the ones that liked the hip hop of when they got into it in the 80s, and the early happy hardcore stuff. So they got into that, and obviously they liked the house. So it's sort of maybe a bit of old school house in the time period when they couldn't get their music in that 1.5, 2 year period. And then when happy hardcore came in, it just exploded and everybody was into it. There's the whole thug life community, and that's when they got a little bit nastier, you know, in the streets and whatever. So after that, at the time the happy hardcore scene took place, the jungle scene died out. Laws and restrictions and regulations on the way they're making the jungle music sound took place, and they had to change it. So they started to influence drum and bass in it, slowly aiming down, put other breaks in there that sound a bit more modern, and using fresher sounds to make it sound more modern, rather than the deep heavyweight stuff of 1994. And then when we come into 96, it was a mixture of just a few Amens with new breakbeats, lyrics and whatever else. And then obviously in 1997, Nampy and Swift were the first people to bring in the jump up drum and bass, and then jungle came to a full end, and then drum and bass then progressed into the music we have today, which is similar drum and bass to 1997. And also in 1997 or 1996 or whatever it was, I think it's the 2nd of May, I'm not sure, they banned DJs and producers from sampling from older bits of material to produce new sounds, because they put copyright laws where you have to pay for every sample you use, regardless of how unrecognisable it is if you mix it into a track. And because of the cost of using other people's samples in music, DJs decided that they need to change their style, and producers would have to modernise their music. But before that time, they were trying to push the levels of music as deep and as dark and as moody as they can do it, and also they were making it very dreamy, very soulful, very, sort of making tracks that would send you to sleep in the jungle scene. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that to give you some idea, and just to explain that the thug life or roughneck community types of people have never liked jungle, and I'm not telling the truth. It might have been different in certain parts of the country where jungle was bigger, or you had these rave shops or whatever, London, Brighton I think it is maybe, but Coventry, places like that, the big cities, you may have had more people that were into that type of music from the thug life scene, but not in Somerset. Right, so I'm about 10 minutes away from starting my vodka. I'm starting it a little bit earlier tonight, so it's actually daylight still, but can't wait for it to get dark before I start my drinking, because I'm out. So obviously I don't like to drink when it's really light, so I will have to be more flexible with later times as we come into the summer, if I'm still drinking the vodka and not got off of that specific alcohol yet. But as it stands at the moment, I'm just doing it like this. So anyway, when you've got nothing to live for and your future's got no good news, you've got to think to yourself, when it comes to sex or anything like that, you've got to take into account that you're not going to get anyone that's sexual. Everyone's a single mother, and you're going to get someone uglier and older than people that sexually abuse you as a child. And you've got to think, all the people that fucked that woman in the past, say 20 years ago, really enjoyed and got this, sex sucked the guts out of her or whatever, and you can't even do that because you've got to go with a stale old bag that you can't stand the look of if you do get anyone. And you can't get a prostitute, can't get sex, as I mentioned in the past. So when you can't have that, and you can't have your music because your music's gone, because all the underground scene is gone, as I mentioned, because I'm into the jungle stuff. Alternative is dark ambient, but the CD's got buggered up, £1,400 worth, 32 discs, cryo chamber recordings from Energy Weapons, or what I'm speculating as being that. So they damaged all the discs. So that burning that was occurring back in February of 2024, in that 6 days before I went to my dad's, fucked up all the discs. And it's also wiped off stuff off of USB sticks and hard drives. I've lost a lot of stuff, including family documentation, photographs, you name it, because of this. And it was happening at my old place. But when the burning problem was occurring at my old place, it wasn't as severe, and it's mostly the eye problem. And it took something like 6 months to damage a disc rather than a couple of days. So that's how intense it was. I thought it wouldn't have done that, but so you don't have an alternative. Your life's taken, everything, your interests are taken, you're not going to get anyone, and you just got to live and face the fact that you've been sexually abused and you're not going to get anyone, because it's too late, because I won't take to an old granny for first ever sexual relationship. And as I said earlier, go back on the recording if you want to listen to it again. Everyone has had sex in the world, near enough, by the age of 40. Yet I'm known as a sick cunt if I don't go with anyone over the age of 40. And I have not had anyone properly in my whole life. Just been messed about, Just mention something about prostitutes as well. In the UK, you won't get more than a blowjob. A couple of moves on you from Michael Jackson prostitute. That's the nearest I've had in my whole life when it comes to any form of sexuality. And she wasn't exactly very good looking, and she was more negative looking than Lisa Pike, who's a school friend that I used to know, and she had rougher skin than what Lisa would have had roughly at that age. However, there was a few years where I didn't see Lisa, so I can't say that 100%, because obviously she would have still been a very young adult child when I saw her, where this Michael Jackson prostitute looked around the age of 22, even though she claimed to be 18. I don't believe that, and she appeared to me to be a single mother as well, because you could tell by the suggestion. And this is why I didn't kind of have sex. I thought, no, I'll wait you know, so I thought, you know, fuck it, you know. So then I started war on that, and started conspiracy with the scams and all the rest of it. So, you know, that was the end of that. And apparently it was because the old neighbour needed money to move in, or the new neighbour needed money to move in. Sorry, the old neighbour needed money to move out, or the new neighbour needed money to move in. There was a conversation that occurred on the stairs. I'm not going to drop any of these neighbours into it, or anybody that's involved, because I don't want them getting in trouble. And obviously they changed, so I respect that, because they were making gun sounds and sometimes shouting from the window. That all stopped completely straight after this Michael Jackson prostitute scammed me, and there wasn't any problems for the following 2 years or so, whatever it was, in the whole time period I was there, until I actually moved. But they did say on the stairs that they're using him. They know he hasn't had anyone, they know the situation, they know he's got autism, and they know he's mentally ill, and they're using him to get his money, that's what they're saying. And it turned out to be true. But they think it's caused by Dan. But they also mentioned the names Scott and Oliver. However, I didn't click on to the information, or if I did at the time, I can't remember what it is today. But that's what went on. In that time period was also, as I said, when the new neighbour moved in, is where the eye problem started, and also the burning problem. But the burning problem was milder there than it is at my place now. However, the first couple of years I was at Thornhouse, this burning didn't occur. It started on the last day of January 2024, or the first day of February 2024. The other thing I want to mention is, although that's worse, the burning problem at my place, the eye problem is not as bad as my old place. So it's worked the reverse way around, but the same form of use of possible energy weapons, if that's what's causing it. I was speaking to one of the staff workers. I'm not saying who, because I don't want to drop this person into trouble or anything like that, and I'm not going to say if it's one that still works there or one that's left. But they said, you haven't had the eye problem for, 16 months, I said at the time. And obviously, he told me he believes that that's not caused by schizophrenia, said that's something wrong, that was genuinely wrong with your eye before it started to recover. But obviously the eye problem has started again, near enough about 8 weeks ago. However, it's hard to know what's going to happen in the future, you just have to wait and see. But the burning problem remains continuing. Yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention is what's causing the burning and eye problem was showing up on certain detectors like EMF meters, or nuclear radiation detectors, or radiation detectors. But it appears to me that there's a possibility that they have a device where they can block you from getting that information, where it doesn't show up on these devices. So when the burn occurs, it's not showing up on these devices at the moment, so I can't get the evidence when it does occur. However, there are things that have occurred apart from that. Batteries heating up in my place for no reason. This is on top of what I mentioned. The screen going all fuzzy, making a hissy sound, going like grey with lines all across it and going a grey colour, and you have to restart it and hope that, or do it when the burning stops and then restart it and it goes okay. It's caused like an electrical burning smell. It's caused quite a few things, but you know, even though that's the case, and it's the possibility of frequencies in the air causing it, you just can't confirm it. You know, when you speak to a doctor or anything like that, everything you mention to him, whether it's threats, setups, even sexuality, is put down to schizophrenia. Even when it comes to, you know, the bad things that have happened to you sexually in the past, which I mentioned at my old place rather than my new place, even that's being put down to schizophrenia. Sorry, everything you've mentioned is put down to that, and they just keep on wanting to medicate me on the highest dosage of the highest possible dosage of specific medications to try and help me. But I was told that it can be dangerous for someone of a small build person or medium build person to be given the highest possible dose, because, you know, the body won't take it as much as how a larger person would take it. So they were talking about that at one point, but with the doctor, he doesn't think that's true. He just says, regardless of the situation, we give you whatever we require to give you. And they have offered me to go into hospital for 6 months, but it also means stopping your money or having me sectioned in the past. So I've just had to sort of sit there and put up with the pain, basically, of the burning situation. Now I want to complete what I was saying about prostitutes. When it comes to the UK, apart from this scammer, who's pretending to be a single lady as well, to believe it or not, just to rob me. At the time, she said she'd only go up to the age of 40, which surprised me because she was quite stern about it, that no higher than 40. But going back almost a decade ago, I was under 40, so, she was okay with it. But why she was being so fussy when she was going to scam me, I do not know. But anyway, the next thing I wanted to mention is when it comes to prostitutes in general, you don't get more than the garden gnome, which is a blowjob in the UK. Other countries, I have spoken, to people from other countries or whatever, but the prices are very expensive. So for a few hours, or maybe a night, depending on the person, or depending on how sexual the person looks, depends on the cost. The more sexy the person, the smoother skin they have, the younger they are, the more it costs. So for safe sex, using a condom, you're looking at £2,000 to £3,000 for one session, from a foreign country, not in this country, obviously, because there's no sex in this country. However, if you want raw sex, also known as hardcore sex, where you don't wear a condom, they double the price, believe it or not. But the reason they have to do that is because they have to take the risk of catching diseases, and also, in some cases, they'll ask that person to get a blood test first before that prostitute will shag that person, if they want sex without a condom on. But the problem is, when it comes to the UK, there's no more than a blowjob, and also they restrict the age on people as well. So in other countries, 18, 21, whatever, would be fine, and they'd fuck anyone in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, or even 80s. But in the UK, they hold that gap against you, so you're not going to get the age difference. They're not going to allow more than a couple of years difference in age in the UK. So it's slightly different over here than it would be in other countries where they allow that age gap, because they're supposed to, because a prostitute is to help people that haven't had sex in their whole life, or people that are desperate or suffering for a fuck, basically. But obviously, like I said, people work different today, and in the UK they don't take it lightly. They're not nice people in the UK. They can't understand that people that haven't had sex in their whole life need it, and that men do need to have sex. That's why I'm saying I'm 44 years of age and I've not had nothing yet in my whole life properly. But since the lockdown, it gets even worse, mostly in the UK, but it's probably happening in other countries as well. But they won't even give you a blowjob. They won't even allow that. It's just a telephone call, and even on the telephone call, some of these nasty people that are on these dating sites, or these apps or whatever, these message boxes or whatever, just for having a telephone call, you can have your life at risk from being knifed by someone in the UK that doesn't agree with prostitutes, mostly from the younger age community or the roughneck community. So that's how dangerous it is nowadays. So how the hell people are going to find someone, I do not know, because when I was using dating sites up until about the year 2018, or about that sort of time period, the messaging, I don't know you in person, you're not in my friends' phones list, you're not a friend that I know in person that's using that same dating site, and telling me to fuck off, or telling people they don't want you around their children, or that their ex-husband will smash you out or knife you in the streets, or stuff like that, and saying that you're going to be shot dead or going to be killed, or you shouldn't be looking at sexual people, you should be looking at a miserable old bag that you can't stand the look of, and stuff like that. And this has been going on for many, many years, and I spent thousands and thousands on these sites, that in 2018, that's when I gave up. But anyway, let's leave it there on that subject, because I've already mentioned this on many other documentaries. Talking of the rough community, such as those like the thugs of the mid-90s, not many of them, but even the rougher people are starting to agree that when it comes to sexuality, that some of the modern people are being fucking nasty when it comes to age gaps, or taking the piss out of people when you look at the way life used to be back in that time period. Now, obviously, I'm not asking for a specific age as such when it comes to sex, but I want someone that I can fancy, and someone that's got smooth skin attraction, feminine skin, not homosexual looking skin. Because with a female, just supposing the female develops that negative looking skin, you have to turn to men for those that can take to the rougher type skin, who want a bit of fun, because in women they seem to go negative in that certain way. There are a few that don't, but not many. But worth mentioning. I guess it's because men have a more different type of appearance than females when they reach a certain age, such as the age of around about 40, some 30, depending on how the genes work in the body, and the type of person it is, and all the rest of it. But I have noticed when it comes to Asian women or people from different countries, they seem to hold out their looks a lot more tidier and look sexy to an older age. I mean, people, not many, but they start to get that negative look, or seem to get that obesity problem around the age of 25. And most people are in relationships at that age anyway, which makes it difficult for those who haven't had anyone to get anyone. Where in other countries, they can hold up to about the age of 50 or 60. Yet in the UK, it can be anything after 25, and it's usually around the age of 30 when they develop that negative look. And I'm not quite sure why that is. But obviously in other countries, if you look at people, people's Facebook channels, apart from Africa, in Africa, there are a few that do develop that negative look, but all in all, if, some people would turn to men soon as they reach the sort of 30s or 40s in the UK because of how women look. I'm not trying to be feminist or anything like that. I'm just giving a description of a person that's into one type of sexual type of attraction. So men hold that look. They don't have that sexual look like the smooth skin a woman has, but they have that appearance which is not as negative as a female in some cases, because a lot of females have that dry and sarcastic type of look. But then again, even men these days have that sort of negative appearance of being a rough looking sort of person. But it depends who it is and where they're from and all that sort of stuff. So I'm not being racist or feminist or anything like that, but I'm just giving an example of what I'm trying to explain, because it's difficult to explain what I'm trying to say. As a preference, if I was to choose a woman, I'd probably go for the brunette type, the sort of maybe the light brown sort of skin, because they hold out an age. Even when they're in their 40s, they still look sexy, and they still hold that smooth skin attraction appearance or whatever. And sometimes there are people actually in the age of a granny group that still have that smooth skin. There's one specific lady that went to Burnham-on-Sea Library, and it was the middle of summer, and she had hardly any clothing on because it was hot, and the smoothness of her skin is like an 18-year-old. And I thought, someone being the age of 60 or 65 having that, is not usually the case. Unfortunately, this lady turned against me because the Savem threat came in, but I did start speaking to her, and I spoke to her in the library. She had crossed eyes, so that didn't bother me. She then went to Wellington, and it was in the time period of when the Savem threat came in. So when I went to say alright, a couple of youths, 18 to 20 years of age, started laughing at me as I was trying to say alright to this lady, and she just ignored me and said, she made a remark which was quite nasty. She couldn't remember who I was, and she said I was Savem when I wasn't, and that's why she turned against me. So there's not many options left, because all my enemies took all the people who turned those people against me back in the days when I should have had anyone. And obviously, you can't argue with the types of people that were getting nasty with me back in that time period, because I've always been around the thuggish type people right through my whole life, and wherever I go it's always the same types of people. So how that's going to be replaced is going to be nearly impossible, and that's why I say I'm never going to get anyone, and that's why I've had my wrist and throat cut, and that's why I'm living up to my name just in time, yet again in another life. Since around the time that I moved to Yeovil, would have also been the time period where the community don't agree with people having prostitutes and putting people that need sex as dangerous paedophiles or perverts and rapists and everything else. And also, you won't find anyone on the internet that is willing to allow you to have sex with them by methods of payment. So you've got to think about that as well. And obviously, people get nasty these days. They threaten to kill people. I've seen the messages on the internet, on apps, message boxes, you name it. Even on these dating sites. I mean, it was starting as early as like 2018 before I stopped using these sorts of sites. But you know, today, wherever you go, anyone that wants a prostitute, or you mention the name prostitute, they're willing to take your life or smash you to pieces or knife you or whatever, because nobody agrees with it anymore. They say that you're supposed to be in a sexual relationship with someone you know, someone you love, and someone that's in that sort of way. But unfortunately, not everybody can do that, because there is not many people that are single, and also they're single mothers by the age of 18 these days. You know, if you want a proper relationship. And like I said, I don't want a single mother. But why should I go with a single mother when it's not my responsibility for their mistakes that they made in the past, or making themselves very, very stale and very used? You know, and also you're not going to enjoy the sex that they enjoyed it with when it came to their partners when they reach my age, because obviously they look a lot different, and also their attitudes change. They don't have that attitude of a single person. They have that attitude of being in a relationship, and you know, I just don't take to that sort of people, you know. So like I said, they fucked my life up. But you know, you can pray to God, you can go to church, you do all that I mentioned earlier on this recording, and my life got even worse. So fuck knows how it's going on. But then again, I think Christianity is a cult religion, just like the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Mormons, and even when it comes to Allah in Hinduism, in what's it called? What's it called? Islam, sorry. You know, there's not much you can do about it. You know, people are just different today. And that's due to the government and due to the media and the music industry. Going back, if we go back, say, 15 years ago, I knew people my age that were in sexual relationships with people 15 coming up 16. And they didn't get attacked, they didn't have any problems or anything like that. Now and again I still see it today, but it's very, very rare. But in recent times I have seen a lot of this activity taking place. So I can't understand why people are moaning about my age when there's massive age gaps. And I did mention earlier on this recording, can you give me some information of why this is happening? You know, in the comments box. So, you know, fuck knows what's going on, but people are much different today. If they got a smooth appearance, they think that they're too sexy for you to go with them, or they have to have, you know, a certain standard. And many people told me that I need to lower my standards, or even higher my standards, to get anyone. Whatever direction you take, you're not going to get anyone, because everyone's in a relationship, and they're not willing to allow you to have anyone. And also, most people have that stir and dry and sarcastic accent, as I was mentioning earlier on. They did have it years ago, but you have more of a sort of happier accent. It's more like a gypsy sort of accent, you know, sort of, in some ways. And gypsy accent I can understand, even though some of the people are rough or dry and sarcastic. They had some form of accent which you could understand. I mean, you go on the Good Looking Records documentary that I also mentioned earlier, that occurred in 1996 when I was mentioning the Yobbish community hating jungle or whatever. You had this one chap that says you have a mainstream of shitty, simplified, fucked up, mangled sounds that come out at you like a piece of shit out of a garbage can. Yes, unless you have what Bookham is playing, which is clean, fresh, intelligent, thought out melodies, patterns or whatever else. You know, even people with that accent, the ladies that are connected to people with that accent, I could speak to back in the 90s to some extent. Well, not the 90s, well, yeah, maybe. But definitely in the early 2000s. But today, the accent changed again. It's a more of a dry and sarcastic, sinister accent all around. There's a lot different today, so it's going to be much more difficult. In 1994, there was a producer that creates drum and bass and jungle called Source Direct, very well known, especially for good looking records. And they released a track called Sound of Life, Intellect. If you listen to the type of jungle they were producing back then, it's exactly the same as what everyone else were making back in that time period. Take into account they were only 17 years of age. So I think it's Jim and Phil are the two that are known as Source Direct. These days, people that age would have, they'd be having unicorns on their bedroom wall, listening to Barbie songs, It's much different today. I don't know what's caused it or how it's happened, but we're in a totally different time. And, people are a bit fucked up today, but at the same time, they don't have any knowledge of the past. They've been brought up into this technological world ever since the invention of the smartphone, which was in 2004. And I just want to mention something about that, because they were going to nickname it the sex phone instead of the smartphone, but because it sounded politically incorrect, and this has been mentioned on TV as well, they named it the smartphone. You had internet phones, but they weren't it went into a smartphone later on. But after 2004, people just changed, and it's fucked it up for those who haven't had anyone yet, basically. Not many people my age have been trying to struggle to find a sex partner, or at least a good time at my age. But the problem is, people are different today, and there's nothing you can do about it. I've been doing several documentaries mentioning several subjects, right up until I came to the air raid shelter, at Stowford, which is Yeovil Junction railway station. But I just want to mention something. Basically, this time yesterday, I have threat upon threat, people shouting at me, getting aggressive, with fuck knows how many threats. Well, today, I've walked from Barrack Cemetery to here, and I've not had a single threat. So that's definitely a difference. However, it's unpredictable, because, people are out there, they're going to say this stuff and whatever. But yeah, it kicked off big time yesterday, and it was one of the nastiest experiences I've ever had coming here. And obviously I shall probably come here again tomorrow, about 9 o'clock-ish, something like that, to have another vodka drinking session. However, I was going to try and cut down tonight, but the thing is, I need to go to the Mind, you see, the Mind cafe, because I'm trying to look for a partner, and obviously I can't find anyone. However, when I last went there 6 months ago, all I saw there was negative types of people. So it's very difficult to interact, because obviously I'm not saying that someone has to be the most beautiful person in the world, but you need someone that you can fancy. And the problem is, these types of people are lookalikes to Lisa Pike. Now, I don't like insulting Lisa Pike, because she's a very nice person. It's just that when it comes to looks or sexuality or being connected in that way, she's just not my type. And people call those types, or the people that they don't think are sexual, or have that sort of grubby, I'm not going to insult her, because obviously I don't like insulting people, but not all people take to a specific type of attraction. But like I said, it doesn't mean anything, because the person inside could be much different than one of those that are really sexy. But not all men can take to that type, that's what I'm saying. So this is why there needs to be alternatives, and many people have said this, and there's been documentaries, I think it might even be mentioned in the Bible, that everyone's entitled to something that they can fancy, but not all people go for sex or fantasies in that way. Some people go for relationships, just for a relationship, to someone to be their partner, for a non-sexual relationship. And what pissed me off is, going back when I was using dating sites about 10 years ago, some of these ladies are saying that they won't have sex with a man if they've reached the age of 40 or above, when it comes to the sexual types. Going back to the 1990s, a prostitute or even a sexual relationship in general, people would still have sex. But it's all over the place. I don't know, but it'd be interesting if you can leave some comments and tell me, or guide me with some idea of how to get someone. Because I've been doing socialising, but doing socialising leads nowhere because no one's single. I've been doing it for many years, and up until about 2016, there people were like smashing glasses over the table, smashing out windows, throwing chairs around in cafes, restaurants and bars and whatever, making it very difficult to socialise. And I've even had close misses where I've almost been smashed to fucking pieces. And also there's been arson that's taken place, which the police have dealt with and found out the culprits that have done it, because I visited these places to try and socialise. So, you know, there's nothing you can do about it. But as soon as we come past 2016, 2017 or whatever, that's when the Savem threat came in, where I was being mistaken as that person. And since that time, nobody's liked me, and I'm getting shit everywhere. And also there's another person called Liam. So let me give you a bit of idea who this Savem is. Well, for a start, I haven't got a clue who he is. But according to threats, this person is 51 years of age. And initially he plays a guitar, so he's into guitar music. I'm not quite sure what he's into, but people have made the suggestion that he's into country and western jazz and stuff like that. And he does a specific laugh that's some like ha 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 in a certain way. And apparently he juggles balls on the beach. And also in recent threats, including today, they're making the suggestion that he worked in a play school and raped children at a play school, which is fucking sad. But you know, that's Savem, assuming that information's correct, of course, because I don't know who it is. And Liam apparently is someone who looks like me, and he's a different kettle of fish altogether. So he's into hardstyle music, he's a bit of a lunatic, and he's a person that takes cocaine and this and that. So it's better to be known as him than it is Savem. But 90% of all the threats I get are me being mistaken as that Savem. However, as I said earlier on, people are giving me shit under my proper name Justin as well in the last 2 years. But they don't even know me, they're just causing trouble. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Right, so I'm not very happy with the setups on the road. That's the busiest I've known that road. Well, or second busiest. So they've timed, obviously, a very mentally handicapped person of I don't know what age this person was because I didn't see. If I was to guess, I'd say about 60-ish or 70. So there's an old lady that's you know, one of those mentally handicapped people in those constructed chairs pushed my way and making these sort of noises. After that, they time I look like someone who sexually abused me as a child, time to an erection. I've had my vodka, so I'm a bit slurry, hang on. And then after that, he's fucking going, said. Dead, sick cunt. Right, and then after that, stab you with AIDS, said. Possibly by the same person, I'm not sure. Then there's a RAA van, so it says RAA. And then someone's wearing a top saying hit with a blow. Then you had a Street Fighter top, just the ordinary, not the Street Fighter Turbo, but still not a good suggestion. A Mr. Zippy top, and a tractor with a bucket head with shit or whatever it is in the bucket in my direction. In actual fact, it was in exactly the same place as where I came yesterday. So probably a farmer moving manure or something to different areas.
Right, so I'm back home, and I'm going to have to give you the information of what's gone on walking back. Simply, straight after I did the previous recording, it's really kicked off. Not quite the nastiest it's ever been, but it's been bloody nasty, so I want to put that on a separate video because obviously, you know, I'm tipsy and I want to do that. Got a bit of a burning sensation, I will mention that. Anyway, that completes the day, apart from the last bit, last half hour or so.